I got to the point where I had done so much research and I knew so much about carnivore, and I wasn't at all tempted to try it until someone said, well, how can you say that you've, completed your project on nutritional research unless you've tried it? So
thank you so much for joining me. Today, I have my good friend, Olivia, and we're going to talk all things carnivore and get Olivia's success story. So Olivia, tell me, how long have you been carnivore?
hi, Serena. Thanks for having me. I've been carnivore for just over a year. It was my carniversary about a couple of weeks ago.
Which kinds of ailments and things like that has carnivore helped you resolve?
But I never did the diet to solve a particular ailment of any sort. I was just on a bit of a quest to improve my nutrition as a whole. I'd done keto for a year and a half. I got to the point where I had done so much research and I knew so much about carnivore, and I wasn't at all tempted to try it until someone said, well, how can you say that you've, completed your project on nutritional research unless you've tried it? So one big thing I noticed very quickly was obviously the weight loss. And I dropped quite a few kilos very quickly. I also noticed my athletic performance changed a lot. I suddenly halved the time of the same mountain bike ride that I would be virtual bike ride that I would do. I'd been doing for a couple of years. I halved the time, and I thought the bike was broken at one point. My running time reduced. I would do the same distance in like 2/3 of the time. I found I didn't need to stretch anymore, which was a bit strange. So obviously started a lot more resistance training, and that's had a big impact as well as far as carnivore and being able to grow muscle. So lots on the athletic front. And then I noticed loads of changes in my body in different ways. My skin was much clearer on my face, people kind of commenting on me looking a bit younger. And I also noticed that like the skin on my feet, I used to always scrub it with a pumice stone. Don't ever do that anymore. I've done that my whole life. There's like nothing to scrub off anymore. A toenail fungus for about 15 years. After 2 weeks on carnivore, it had disappeared, and I could not believe it. I had been trying for like well over a decade to get rid of it. My eyes got whiter, my teeth got whiter, my tummy got flatter. And I think probably the biggest thing for me was the mental health difference that I felt. So I never had a depression issue, but I'd had, times that I was down when my parents passed away, things like that, and felt generally okay with life, but not, over the moon. But I remember waking up one day and it was like a Wednesday and I felt just over the moon. And this again was only about 2 weeks in. Like it was like a level of euphoria, like the happiest day you've ever experienced, but there was no reason to have that feeling, and everything just feels very positive, and your outlook changes. And I think for me that has been the most telling sign of something quite significant that's changed as a result.
So how strict were you in the beginning, and are you still that strict?
Yeah, I'm pretty strict. I was strict from the start, and I generally have meat, salt, water, eggs, and dairy probably 2 or 3 times a week, and only when it's there and I really feel like it. But I don't feel like I want dairy as much as I used to. So I used to think everything needed to be covered in cheese, and I don't have that need anymore. It's just something maybe I'd have on an occasion to just sit and eat some cheese on the side of something. I never really think about anything sweet. If I see it, it means nothing to me. So it's really nice to have that freedom from having that pull towards food that you shouldn't have anymore.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you have a difficult transition in the beginning?
Not really, no, because I was keto for 2 years, and so really the only difference was not having steamed broccoli, which was not that hard. And that's why we try to have the kids, stay on keto, because we didn't really know where we were going with this whole carnivore thing. But as soon as they saw that we were eating steaks and leaving the broccoli, they were like, well, hang on a minute. Why do we have to keep eating this broccoli and you're carrying on? So they were like carnivore within 3 days of us starting carnivore as well. So yeah, it wasn't a hard transition having been keto and having already been high fat, and it was much more enjoyable than what we were finding on keto as well.
Did you have any backlash from like family or friends or anything like that?
I wouldn't say backlash, but I think that is definitely an aspect that's challenging. I have quite a big family. Most of them are very, I'd say, opinionated about diet, and some are from a plant-based background and very strict with that. Some are in a very much of a low fat camp. And so we just about had something in common when I was keto, in that we all ate vegetables. And now we are just even more poles apart. And we've never really had a discussion about the diet as well. So I think what makes it challenging is that we all know that what we all eat, but we don't talk about it, because otherwise we'll end up in probably not a very good discussion. And so now family get-togethers are a little bit of a challenge because we've got to the point where we have to just all bring our own food because there's no one who overlaps with anyone else anymore. So I'll be turning up with a high-fat steak, they'll have a low-fat chicken, and my other part of the family will be having, you know, a nut loaf or something. So yeah, that's just the way it is, and we just have to get past it and accept it, I think.
Yeah. So if you had one piece of advice for somebody considering the carnivore lifestyle, what would that be?
It is worth trying. I think most of the people on carnivore, as I said before, are those that are trying to solve some kind of issue. They have an autoimmune issue or something which has plagued them for many years. And that's great. And that's an amazing solution for them. So if you're one of those, then there isn't, you know, even if it's a skin condition and you think there's something wrong with your skin, I think that's another one that comes out a lot. It's really worth trying if you've got anything that you feel is an ailment. But I'd say even if you don't think you do, and even if you're pretty happy in whatever diet you were on, that doesn't mean that you won't also notice quite considerable changes in your body, and especially the mental health benefits. So I think what's quite, you know, revelationary when you do try it is you suddenly realize that I'm missing out on just feeling normal and feeling optimal. And when you feel that optimal and your quality of life goes up that much, you kind of get to the point where you just can't see any reason to go back. And I'm not saying that that's the case for everyone. It's certainly been the case for me, but I would say unless I had just done it on a bit of a whim, I would never have discovered, you know, the best quality of life that I've ever experienced. So I don't see why you wouldn't try it and at least give it a chance, and hopefully it will change your life as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Olivia.
No worries. Nice to see you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and look for our other 6-minute success stories on our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time here on the Carnivore Revolution.